The CFO of a $20 million construction firm was at a breaking point. His company was growing fast, new projects, new partnerships, and new entities. But his financial system wasn't keeping up. Every month brought more complexity, new contract insurance provisions, new compliance requirements, and a constant flow of change orders, and reporting delays that left him flying blind. Stress was mounting. He didn't just want a change, he needed one. That's when he contacted us, not for a quick fix, but for a strategic evaluation. He wanted clarity on what was broken, what could be streamlined, and whether his current system could support the next phase of growth. Our job was to diagnose the pain points and chart a path forward. I'm Chris Fira, CPA and as a solution consultant with Ledgerable. This CFO's dilemma is a familiar one among new prospects. So let's review some of the findings. First, his users were well acquainted with the system, but it was no longer fit for purpose. They were running QuickBooks Enterprise with a few bolt-ons, like a legacy on-premise job costing application, and they'd recently acquired Procore for project management. This setup served them well enough in their early years, but now the cracks were showing with rapid growth in projects' complex compliance needs. Month-end close was taking 20 or more days with manual consolidations, sometimes performed multiple times when adjusting journal entries occurred. Intercompany transactions, prepaids, and other accounting elements were being tracked in Excel spreadsheets, and they were often error-prone and difficult to reconcile. The lack of automation, there was no ability to update revised budgets automatically from change orders. Secondly, reporting was reactive and not strategic. Job-level profitability was buried in static reports and weeks behind real time. He was always looking at past financial data without a real understanding of where his project stood today. The CFO told us, "I don't just need numbers, I need clarity. I need to see what's happening across projects, regions, and teams without waiting for someone to stitch it together." Because their reports were static, if the CFO wanted to compare performance across projects, it required multiple exports and then manual pivot tables. And there was no drill down, no real-time view, no way to benchmark across entities or projects. Also, there was no visibility into cash flow and cash requirements by job or region, and no alerts for budget overruns or compliance gaps. It wasn't just a reporting issue, it was a strategic blind spot. Decisions were delayed and opportunities missed. The CFO complained that he would find out about project overruns at or near the end of a project. Thirdly, security and compliance were becoming a growing concern. As the company expanded into regulated markets, the CFO needed tighter controls. The current system was managed on servers in-house by a minimal IT staff, and they were rightly constantly worried about cyber security and impacts on daily operations. But the current system couldn't restrict access by role, region, or function. Sensitive financial data was accessible to too many people, and the audit trails were incomplete. The system itself lacked the safeguards needed for a growing multi-entity organization. For instance, there was no role-based permission at the modular entity level, making it impossible to restrict access by department or geography. No automated documentation for subcontractor compliance, and no confidence in audit readiness, especially when navigating the new jurisdictional presence. He said, "We're growing fast, but our system isn't growing with us, and that's a risk I can't afford." The tech stack was also disconnected and rigid. They had good tools, Procore for field ops, Salesforce for business development, but none of it talked well with QuickBooks. Every integration required a manual workaround, and every new entity required IT intervention. The CFO wanted agility, but the system was not built for workflow flexibility, efficiency, or scale. There was no native cloud access for remote teams, and no modular expansion for new entities or joint ventures, and no seamless integration across their tech ecosystem. The CFO wasn't asking for bells and whistles. He was asking for an infrastructure that matched his ambition. The diagnosis was clear. This wasn't just a need for new software. It was a case for strategic enablement, and the CFO needed a system that could automate workflows and approvals, deliver real-time drill down for financial insights, identify project variances in real time so that corrective action could be taken immediately, enforce in security and compliance by design, and integrate with the tools they already used. That's why we recommended Sage Intacct Construction, not because it's trendy, but because it's built for exactly this kind of complexity.